All right, in this video, we're going to learn how to play the White Castle. I believe this one's pretty involved, so I'm going to go kind of slow. Okay, here we go. Let's learn how to play the White Castle. This tutorial exists thanks to Nekanyanser. The White Castle, Japan, 1761, Harima Province. Daimyo Sakai Tadakiyo is one of the most important advisors in the Edo shogunate. To gain influence with the court of the White Heron, you must insert family members into every level of life within the White Castle. In the White Castle, players will take turns using dice to trigger actions on the board. These actions allow them to gain resources, spend resources to put meeples on the board, and most importantly, trigger additional actions. Points are mostly awarded for placing meeples on the board. After just 3 rounds of 3 turns each, whoever has the most points wins. At the beginning of the game, each player must choose a pair of starting cards. The number of available pairs is equal to the number of players plus 1. This is a 2-player game, so there are 3 pairs. Each pair consists of a starting resources card and an action card. BGA randomly chose us as the first player, and these cards are chosen in reverse turn order, so our opponent will choose first. Okay. It'll be our turn soon. Okay, it's our turn to pick. I like the resources on the left card. Click on the left resource card, then confirm your choice at top. So we're going to choose that one. Confirm. Okay, good. At the top, you should be able to see all of the resources provided by the card. In this game, most actions and resources acquisitions can be triggered in any order we choose, but in many cases, it won't matter. Click on Resolve All to claim all the resources. Let me see my card. Nope, let's just go. Let's resolve all. We'll bat it later. Okay. You can see all the resources we acquired here. 3 coins, 2 daimyo seals, 4 rice, 2 iron, and 0 mother of pearl. You can also see these resources on our domain board. Scroll down until you find it. Okay, here's our domain board, okay? Mother of pearl 0, got 4, okay, right here. Okay, 4 rice, okay. The 3 tracks on the left side of our board are used for rice, iron, and mother of pearl. Note that each track only goes up to 7. If we try to gain more than that, it will go to waste. The same goes for the daimyo seals across the top of our board, but we can only hold up to 5. The icon on the right of the seals is for coins, and the one after that is victory points. No limits for those, of course. After we gain resources from the resource card, it was flipped over and placed next to our lantern. Whenever we trigger a lantern action, we'll gain all the resources shown to the right of it. Okay. We'll add more icons to our lantern as we play through the game. So we flipped over and turned the card here, the starting resource card. Okay. The action card was placed here. We'll be able to trigger its action later. Click on confirm at the top so we can start the game. Okay. Okay, both have starting cards. Okay. Great. At the beginning of each round, BGA rolls several white, red, and black dice and arranges them on the left side of the main board. The number of dice of each color is always equal to the number of players plus 1. In this case, we're playing a 2-player game, so BGA rolled 3 of each color. The reds always go in the top row, blacks in the middle, and whites on the bottom row. In each row, the dice are arranged with lower values on the left and higher values on the right. Here's another example from a 3-player game. So the numbers get bigger, 2, 3, 5, 6. Okay. On our turn, we must choose one of the dice and place it on an action space on our board. However, we can only choose the leftmost or rightmost die in each row. The ones in the middle, for the moment, are locked. In each action space has a number on it. See right here. If we place a die with a higher value than what's printed, we'll gain coins equal to the difference. However, if we place a die with a lower value, we'll have to pay with the difference. Let's try it. Select the black 5 and place it on this space. So 5, place it here, okay? Remember, it was 3, so we place 5 on a 3 space. Since 5 minus 3 equals 2, we gain 2 coins. Since this is a 2-player game, no other dice can be placed here for the rest of the round. In 3 or 4-player games, a second die can be stacked on each space. If there were more players in the game and someone stacked a second die here, it would use the first die's value for calculating coins. For example, if someone stacked a 2 on top of this 5, they would have to pay 3 coins because 2 minus my 5 is 3. Of course, we didn't just place this die to get coins. We did it to trigger actions. Next to the action space, there's a column of die indicators, followed by a card with 3 action scrolls on it. Okay, we have next to the action space, there are column of 3 die indicators, okay, here. And the scrolls, these are the scrolls, right here. We can trigger all the scrolls on the card with indicators that match the color of the die we used. In this case, we used a black die, and the top 2 scrolls, this one and this one, have black die indicators, so we can trigger those 2 scrolls. If we had used a white die instead, we just triggered the bottom scroll because the bottom one has white right there. We can't use a red die because it wouldn't trigger anything. We'll have to trigger those 2 action scrolls one at a time, so click here. The top scroll will grant us 2 mother of pearl, so click on it, okay? Oh, here we go, right here. Now click up here, we gain it, and it indicates, see, it moved up. Okay, now we'll resolve the other scroll, which grants us 1 Daimyo seal and 1 victory point, the red fan. Again, the order in which we receive them doesn't particularly matter in this case, so click on Resolve All. Okay, that's it for our first turn. Click on Confirm to end our turn, then our opponent will go. Okay, so they're going. Let's look at our board. It's getting high up. Okay. There's a lot of little pieces in this game. Okay, next turn. In the first turn, all we did was acquire more resources. Let's do something more exciting this time. So let's select the red 4, because remember, we can only do the leftmost or rightmost. So click it on this space, okay? Just bigger, so we should get a coin. We get 1 coin. We gain 1 coin for placing a 4 on a 3 space. Since we used a red die, we can trigger the scrolls with red die indicators. So click here. Let's take care of the simple one first, okay? We'll get iron, 2 iron, cool. Okay. Okay, now we'll trigger the other scroll, which grants us a gardener action. So that's this one. Okay, I better explain a few things first. On our domain board, you may have noticed that we have 3 rows of meeples. Let me see. Courtiers on the top, gardeners in the middle, and warriors at the bottom. So it looks like they have a dress, and then this one is like a shovel or something, and then this one is a weapon. On the left side of the main board, BGA laid out 6 gardener cards. Let's see, where are they? Okay. 6 gardener cards. Each one has a rice cost, a victory point value, and associated action. For example, the one in the top left corner, costs 2 rice, is worth 3 points at the end of the game, and grants 2 Daimyo seals. You can hover over any of the cards to see the details. Okay, continue. Okay, when we take a gardener action, we can take the leftmost gardener on our domain board, place it on the gardener card, pay the rice cost, and trigger the associated action. This particular gardener action has an additional cost of 1 Daimyo seal, which isn't a problem for us. Let's see. Okay. The bottom right card looks like a good option. Look here. 1, 2, 3. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Okay, we pay 3 food to place a gardener. Next, scroll down to our domain board. As you can see, placing the gardener uncovered an iron icon on our board right there. See it? Okay. If we place a black die to the left of our row of gardeners, we'll gain resources from all the exposed icons in the row. Then we'll trigger the action shown on the card to the right. Let's say we placed a black 4 there. We pay 2 coins because 4 minus 6 equals 2. Gain 2 iron and trigger the warrior action on our card. Okay, I don't understand that. These are called personal domain actions. Oh, here we go, the little warrior. You can barely see it. Speaking of personal domain actions, the card we just placed a gardener on provides 1. We have to pay 4 coins though. Okay, click here for the action. I'm not sure why, but oh well. Since we've only placed 1 meeple so far, our options for this action are 1 rice plus warrior action, 2 ore plus warrior action, 1 mother of pearl plus warrior action. So place 1 meeple. How do we know? I don't know. Let's take the iron. Okay, 2 iron. Click on the black die on our domain board. Okay, resolve all. We gain 2 iron. Oh, the warrior, because the warriors, you can barely see it. Warrior actions let us move the leftmost warrior on our domain board to one of the training yards in the top right corner of the main board. Okay, let's move the leftmost warrior on our domain board. Okay. Each yard has an iron cost in the bottom left corner and an action or 2 in the top left corner. Okay, cost right there, 5 iron. Okay. In the top left. Okay. For example, this yard costs 3 iron, right there, 3, and lets us trigger any action scroll in the castle. The actions provided by the yards will be different in every game. Or any action, okay. This seems like a pretty good option for us, so let's place a warrior here. Okay. Great. But before we trigger this yard's action, look closely at the icons in the bottom right corner of the yard. Okay, there's some icons down there, right here. They indicate how warriors are scored. Unlike gardeners, warriors do not provide flat amounts of victory points. Instead, at the end of the game, each warrior is worth 1 point per courtier we placed in the castle. In other words, warriors times courtiers equals points. So we need a warrior plus a courtier, always. Also, each warrior in the most expensive yard counts as double. I'll show you the courtier actions next. We can use the training yards action to get one. So click here. Okay, so they placed a warrior. Is that a, yeah, that's a warrior. They placed a warrior here. Okay. Okay, now we can pick any action scroll in the castle. The middle scroll on this card has a courtier action. Where? Here? Okay. Click on the middle scroll. Okay. I actually made a slight mistake when I made this replay. The scroll I chose requires us to pay 1 Daimyo seal for the courtier action. I could have used this one instead, which offers the same for free. Because 1 Daimyo. Here we go, yep. Huh. Oops, oh well. Okay, that would have been this one. Okay. Click here to trigger the action. This is the castle gate. Where is it? Oh, right down here. The icons next to it represent the 2 optional steps that comprise a courtier action. First, we can pay 2 coins to move a courtier from our domain board to the castle gate. Each courtier at the gate is worth 1 point at the end of the game, but since they aren't actually inside the castle, they don't count for warrior scoring. So let's place a courtier. Okay, from our board here to there. The other optional step of courtier action lets us pay Mother of Pearl to move a courtier from the gate up and into the castle. If we pay 2, we can move 1 level up. If we pay 5, we can move 2 levels up. Oh, there we barely see it. Okay, we cannot pay 5 and move 2 different courtiers 1 level up. Okay, 1 at a time. In this case, we only have 2 Mother of Pearl, so we'll move up 1 level. Click here. And why isn't this working? Well, that's a drag. Okay, that was a glitch. Great, the card is now on our domain board. Changing what we get from personal domain actions. When we acquired the new card, the old one was pushed out, flipped over, and placed next to our lantern. So that you see there's another one. The one has sort of bird. That's not all. Whenever we acquire a new card, we can trigger one of the white action scrolls for free. So let's do so. Okay. Click on the bottom one to get 1 iron and 1 rice. Resolve all. 1 iron. Yeah, we need more rice. Finally, we have to draw a new card from the deck to replace the one we took from the board. So click here. Click here. Okay, confirm. Okay, phew, that was quite a turn. So here's a quick recap. We placed a die which triggered a gardener action, which let us pay 4 coins to trigger a personal domain action, which gave us a warrior action, which let us trigger any scroll on the castle. We chose the courtier action, which gave us a new card and let us trigger one of its white scrolls. That was a lot. Just a couple more details about courtiers. In addition to increasing the value of our warriors, each courtier on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd level of the castle is worth 3, 6, and 10 points at the end of the game. If we move a courtier into the 3rd level, we can also claim a bonus from the Daimyo card. Okay, he's taking his turn. This is kind of complicated. Okay, turn 3. Looks like all the high-numbered dice are gone, so we should take the leftmost die in the row. Whenever we do so, we'll trigger a lantern bonus. See over here as lanterns on the left, so we can get 1. Unfortunately, the only remaining action space in the castle has a 4 printed on it. We would have to pay 3 coins to place a 1 here, and we're broke. So what can we do? There are also a couple action spaces in the bottom right corner. This is called outside the walls. If we place a die here, we could trigger one of the actions next to the space we use. It doesn't matter what color we used. Unfortunately, both of the spaces are 5, so again, we can't use them because we got a 1. Well, there's always the well. The well has a 1 printed on it, as well as an infinity symbol right here. indicating that any number of dice can be placed there. When we do, we'll gain the resources shown. In this particular game, it's 1 Daimyo seal, 1 mother of pearl, and 1 iron, which is better than nothing. So we're going to put this here. Select the black one. Okay. We'll put the black one and put it by the well. First, we'll resolve the lantern effects. Again, we get these because we chose the leftmost die in a row. If you scroll down to our domain board, you'll see we have 2 icons next to our lantern. Okay. We have 1 rice and 1 bird. The bird represents the passage of time. Okay, let's go up. This is the time track. Everyone starts with a player token to the left of the track. Whenever we trigger the passage of time, our token will advance. This will determine player order for the next round. Some advancement on the track requires to pay Daimyo seals, but it's worth it. We'll gain some endgame victory points from this track as well. All right, let's trigger the lantern's effect. Resolve all. Okay, we'll gather resources. We'll get everything. Okay, that was our last action for the round. When our opponent takes their turn, the round will end. Whew. This is a hefty game. Just taking turns. Okay, Daimyo. Okay, the first round is about to end. 3 things will happen. First of all, a player order for the next round will be determined based on each player's progress on the time track. In this case, our opponent has progressed just a little bit farther than we have. See, the green is before us, the blue. So our opponent will go first and we'll go second. This will be shown using the heron figures in the top left corner. Okay. Second, each player may trigger the action on the card they placed a gardener on, but only if there's at least 1 die left in the corresponding row. Okay, they placed a gardener. Our gardener's here. In this case, we have a gardener on one of the cards in the bottom row, and one of the white dice is still here, so we can use that action again. Unfortunately, the action requires 4 coins and we're still broke, so too bad. Let's click skip. Finally, the dice are collected and re-rolled for the next round. Round 2. This time our opponent is the first player. All right. Game, mother of pearl, Daimyo. And let's play through just one more turn together. Examine the available dice in our resources. We want to get as many meeples onto the board as possible because we're trying to infiltrate the castle, okay? Any ideas? Well, we really need coins, so high numbers will help us a lot. The highest die is a white die. The highest is 5. This area is the best place to place for a white die because there's 2 scrolls for the white die. So let's get the white 5 and place it here. We get 2 coins. Okay, great. We'll trigger the middle scroll to get a coin and some resources from the well. And then the top scroll to get a warrior action. See a top scroll. Okay. Fast forward. Doing all this stuff for us, which is good. Oof. Okay. Okay, let's place our warrior. We have plenty of iron. Oh, we have a lot, 6. So let's put a warrior in the most expensive yard, the 5 iron. Remember, each warrior in the expensive yard counts as 2 for scoring at the end of the game. Nice. So let's do that. We have 1 iron left. That yard gives us a well action and lets us trigger any scroll on the board with a black die indicator. I'll go ahead and click through the well action for you. Okay, next we can trigger any action scroll with a black die indicator. Take a look at our options. What do you think we should do? Pretty much like this or that, I think. I think you agree that the warrior action on this card is the best option, but we only have 2 iron left. So we'll only be able to afford the cheapest training yard. Unless we use Daimyo seals. At any time, you can convert 2 Daimyo seals into 1 resource or 1 seal into 1 coin. Click here to open the menu of Daimyo actions. We just need 1 more iron for the middle training yard. Okay. Click here. So we're going to get more iron. Okay, that's all we need. Exit. Okay, let's trigger the warrior action. Playing the war. Select this training yard. Okay. Again, the yard's action lets us trigger any scroll in the castle. Let's play another gardener. Click here to play another. Oh, click here to trigger a gardener action. Okay. This card grants us 3 coins. They'll definitely be useful. So let's place our gardener here. Good. Oh my goodness. Okay, I think you've seen enough. This game will continue for a total of 3 rounds. After the second round, the turn order will change again, and players will get a chance to trigger their garden actions for the last time. At the end of the third round, the game will end, and BGA will count up the points. In addition to points from placed gardeners, courtiers, and warriors, and all the points they gained throughout the game, each player will score 1 point for every leftover coins, Daimyo seals, 1 or 2 points for each resource track with at least 3 or 7 units remaining, points according to the progress on the time track. Okay. Whoever has the most points wins. Thank you for playing through this tutorial for the White Castle. If you have any comments or questions about the tutorial, feel free to send Nick and Yancer a message. Okay, big thanks goes to Israel, Sheila, Devir, and Jordy Jansen for bringing it to BGA. Have fun. Now you're ready to play your first game. Okay, thanks for watching.